The forest planet of Veldin was a place where shadows seemed alive, and whispers of ancient spirits floated through the dense, towering trees. The people of Eldin lived cautiously, bound by stories of fear and respect for the wild, especially the Shade Wolves, fierce predators said to be the guardians of the dark woods. Zarya, a 10-year-old girl with a heart braver than most adults, often wandered the edge of the forest. Her small village warned her to never venture too far, but Zarya's curiosity was a flame that refused to die. She carried with her a simple wooden knife, carved by her late mother, a reminder of courage and kindness. One fog-drenched afternoon, as the wind carried an eerie chill, Zarya heard a faint, agonized whimper deep in the trees. Drawn by the sound, she found herself face to face with a creature she had only heard about in stories, a shade wolf. But this shade wolf was unlike the terrifying beasts of legend. Its fur was dark as midnight, eyes glinting with pain and fear. A thick thorn, cruel and sharp, was lodged painfully in its nostril. Riven the shade wolf tried to growl but only whimpered, its breathing shallow and ragged. It was clear the thorn was more than a mere injury. It was a prison, binding the creature in suffering and helplessness. Zarya's heart pounded, not with fear but with compassion. Despite the warnings that shade wolves were dangerous and cursed, she knelt beside Riven, whispering soft words her mother had taught her about healing and trust. The shade wolf's gaze softened, recognizing something pure and kind within the child. But the thorn was deeply embedded, and removing it meant pain, for both. Zarya knew this was more than a test of courage. It was a choice that could change both their lives forever. She gathered herbs from the forest floor, her small hands steady as she prepared a soothing balm. Riven flinched, but did not flee. The bond between them grew with each passing moment, fragile and powerful. As twilight fell and shadows stretched longer, Zarya made a silent promise. She would not let the thorn win. She would fight for the creature that only a little human girl dared to save. The moon hung low and heavy in the night sky, a deep red orb casting an eerie glow over the forest of Veldin. Twisted branches seemed to reach out like skeletal fingers, and the whispers of the wind carried secrets older than time itself. Beneath this haunting light, Zarya and Riven moved cautiously, their bond forged in the fire of pain and trust. Riven's breathing was still labored, the thorn lodged in his nostril, a cruel reminder of the hunters who had set this cruel trap. The alien hunters, cold, merciless beings, had pursued him relentlessly, wanting to claim the Shade Wolf's hide and bones for their dark markets. Zarya had overheard the villagers' fearful tales, but now she saw the truth beneath the legend, a proud, wounded soul desperate to survive. As they weaved through the twisted forest, Zarya held a small lantern, its flickering light barely pushing back the oppressive darkness. She could feel Riven's muscular form trembling beneath her gentle touch. Every step a battle against the pain that tore through his body. The hunters were not far behind. She heard their distant voices and the crunch of boots on brittle leaves. "You can do this," she whispered, more to herself than to the Shade Wolf. "We'll get through this together." Suddenly, a sharp snap echoed nearby. Riven's ears perked up, his amber eyes blazing with warning. From the shadows, a group of alien hunters emerged, their weapons glinting wickedly. Zarya's heart raced, but she stood firm, placing herself between Riven and the danger. "Leave," she demanded with a courage she didn't quite feel. "This creature is under my protection," one hunter sneered, stepping forward, but Riven growled low and fierce, a primal sound that shook the trees. The hunters hesitated, sensing the Shade Wolf's raw power beneath the pain. In that moment, something incredible happened. Zarya reached out and touched Riven's snout, her hands warm and steady. The Shade Wolf leaned into her touch, finding strength in the unlikeliest of allies, a little human girl. Together they fled deeper into the forest, hearts pounding, the hunters' shouts fading behind them. As they ran, Zarya felt a mysterious energy coursing through her veins, a bond deeper than friendship, something ancient and magical. They reached a hidden glade bathed in silver moonlight, where an ancient tree stood, its roots tangled like the hands of forgotten spirits. Here, Zarya knew, was the place to remove the thorn. With trembling hands, she began to work. Riven winced, but did not pull away, trusting her completely. As the thorn finally came free, a brilliant light burst from the wound, healing flesh and easing pain. Riven's eyes shone with gratitude, and Zaria felt a warmth flood her soul. But their triumph was short-lived. A chilling howl echoed through the forest. The hunters were returning, angrier and more relentless than before. Zaria and Riven braced themselves for the battle ahead, their bond now a fierce weapon in the night's dark embrace. The alien hunters closed in fast, their shadowy forms slipping through the trees like ghosts of vengeance. Zaria tightened her grip on Riven's fur, her heart pounding not with fear, but fierce determination. Together, they had survived the impossible. Now, they would face the reckoning. The glade transformed into a battlefield under the pale moonlight. Ancient trees bore silent witness as the hunters advanced, their weapons crackling with deadly energy. Riven growled, muscles coiled like springs, eyes blazing with the fire of the Shade Wolf's ancestral spirit. Zaria stepped forward, her small frame a beacon of defiance. She whispered the words of the old language, a song of protection and power learned from the village elders. The ground trembled, roots twisting to form barriers, and the air shimmered with an otherworldly force. The hunters faltered, their confidence shaken by the raw magic awakening in the heart of the forest. Riven leapt, claws flashing, taking down one hunter with a fierce swipe. Zaria moved with surprising agility, using her knowledge of the land to outmaneuver their foes, setting traps and guiding Riven's strikes. Amidst the chaos, the leader of the hunters emerged, a towering figure clad in dark armor, his eyes cold and merciless. He lunged at Zaria, but Riven intercepted, teeth bared in a protective snarl. The battle between Shade Wolf and Hunter was brutal, a clash of wills and strength beneath the stars. Zaria seized the moment, reaching into her satchel to retrieve a small vial filled with glowing liquid, the elixir of the forest, said to grant strength and healing. She poured it onto Riven's wounds, the light spreading like wildfire, rejuvenating the fierce creature. Empowered, Riven unleashed a final devastating howl that echoed through the trees, a call that summoned the forest's spirits. The hunters cried out in fear as the very earth rose against them. Vines, roots, and stones converging in a surge of ancient power. Defeated and broken, the hunters fled into the night, leaving the glade bathed in the calm after the storm. Zaria knelt beside Riven, her hands trembling with exhaustion and relief. The Shade Wolf nuzzled her gently, eyes soft with gratitude and something deeper, a promise of friendship beyond the bounds of worlds. As dawn broke over Veldin, the first light touched the leaves, and with it came a new beginning. Zaria and Riven stood together, guardians of a fragile peace between human and Shade Wolf, bound forever by a moment of courage, compassion, and an unbreakable bond. And so, the legend of the little human girl who removed the painful thorn from the nostrils of an alien wolf predator was born. A tale whispered on the wind, inspiring hope where darkness once reigned.